A lot of things to think about these days when you're setting up a sales team. If I had to focus on doing one thing better, what advice would you give me?
Great question and a really boring answer. And it's sales discipline, your structure or your cadence or your sales rhythm, or whatever you'd like to call it. And let me sort of talk about that in a few parts. If we think about a business, every business has its own sort of natural rhythm, in terms of its reporting cycles for its revenue and profitability up the line, and also its deal cycles. Some businesses really fast deal cycles, some businesses far slower burn. And in line with those cycles, it's really, really important to get a very, very consistent, and to that word disciplined, a very, very disciplined sales rhythm. And there are a few parts to that. Firstly, what meetings are we having and when? So we are probably meeting weekly, we may be meeting fortnightly, we're almost certainly meeting monthly, and we're probably having sort of some kind of quarterly deep dive. But getting really, really clear on the meetings that we have, and the time with which the time cycle around those meetings is the first piece. The second thing then is the agenda. Really, really crisp, really, really focused, and absolutely religious on the agenda, because what that drives is a really clear expectation for your sellers and for anybody else in the meeting as to what prep needs to be done to come into the meeting, what conversation is going to be had during the meeting, and what can come out of the meeting. And the quality of conversation, it's amazing how well that quality comes up when you hold that agenda and you hold that really clear expectation and stick to that agenda on a week to week or fortnightly to fortnightly basis, whatever it may be. The third piece then, we're talking about sales and marketing today, is who's in the meeting. We don't want to cast to thousands, but as well as our sellers, which meetings are we having where we're involving our marketing brethren, where we're involving the product guys, the finance guys, etc. Because if we get that right, everybody understands the pace of the business better, they understand the deals on the table, and they can collaborate far more effectively to help sort of close those deals and cross-functionally make sure that you're both retaining and growing your business. And then the last couple of pieces, which are even more boring, and the pieces that people really, really hate. Number one, your follow-up. Who's taking the actions? Who's following through on the actions? And who's checking the actions at the beginning of the next meeting? And if I'm sounding like a painful person to have in meetings, this is what we do. And never have I not seen the quality of conversation and the quality of comprehension, the quality of result come up. And the second thing is repeat. This stuff only works if you hold the line on your meetings and you hold the line on your agendas. If we get to a point where we're sort of saying, we don't need to meet this week and we don't need to meet next week, and we're missing a fair number of our meetings, that tells me one of two things. It either tells me our meeting frequency is wrong and it's not aligned to our business, so we should adjust it, or it tells me we haven't got our discipline right. And if we don't know what deals we've got, and we don't know the status of those deals, and we don't know what we need to do to close those deals as a sales team and as a broader organization, then we're not going to succeed, or we're certainly not going to be as effective as we could be. So it's a really boring answer, Dave, but I think the one thing I see consistently that can be improved, it's the sales discipline, it's that sales cadence.